Alright, it's 8:45, I'll call this meeting of the Public Safety Committee to order. If the Assistant Clerk can please call the roll.
Chairman Cormier,
Present.
I'm sorry.
Councilor Harden,
Present.
Councilor Boone.
Present.
First item on the agenda is review and approval of minutes meeting from January 18th, 2022 and February 17th, 2022. Entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of January 18th, 2022, and February 17th, 2022 as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to abstain from the January 18th meeting, but I'll second the motion.
Alright, we have a motion by Councilor Harden, second by Councilor Boone on accepting the minutes of February 17th. Second the minutes on January 18th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me.
We have two ayes, one abstention. Motion passes. Department updates. Start with the building department. Mr. Jean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. We're at 380 building permits right now, which is just a little bit ahead of last year, and last year was a record year for us, so the economy hasn't slowed down too much around here, not yet anyways. Zoning board is busy. We have a meeting Tuesday night with 5 cases. It's been busy for a while now. I'm going to the appointments committee this afternoon for an alternate plumbing inspector. Our former plumbing inspector, alternate inspector resigned, so I'll be at the appointments committee this afternoon with a new candidate for that. Our new custodian is still out. He needs an MRI. He won't be back. Well, the MRI isn't until the middle of June, so we're still, we've got some fill-ins. A lot of people in City Hall are helping out. It's been good, but challenging. We're painting the connector between the two buildings, between City Hall and the annex right now. Hasn't been done since it was built. The mayor's conference room is finished. If you haven't seen that yet, I suggest you check it out because it looks pretty nice. Oval Case Playground. The service was shut off by National Grid due to some vandalism. We recently got the service reinstalled and back up and running, so the lights are available should anyone need them. Purchased our new vehicle for the department a couple of weeks ago. That's all going well. And my fleet now is complete. I shouldn't need a new vehicle for probably in my tenure. 88 to 98 Main Street, where the staging is protecting the pedestrians on the sidewalk. That's recently changed hands. The new owner has been in my office asking what needs to be done, and they are going to take care of it. So I would assume that the staging will disappear very soon, which has been a long time coming. 66 to 72 Main Street has the same issue. We have an engineer's report saying that the brick needs to come off the facade. So there's nothing's falling now. There's no imminent danger, but when you see that happening, because I'm certain that we'll be shutting down at least one lane of the street when that happens, and it should be soon, just a heads up. 25 Main Street purchase is imminent. I checked the registry of deeds this morning. I don't see that it's gone through yet, but I know that it's imminent. We've got big plans for that building, and it's going to be a good thing. 262 Park Street over by the Napoleon Club. Been an eyesore for a long time. That's gone now. The developer is going to build a new single-family home in its place, a little bit further away from the road, and it's going to meet setbacks. That'll definitely be an improvement to that section of the street. And 114 Leamy Street, the old factory building, the roof has been collapsed for a long time. That's going to be coming down shortly too this summer. That will be taken care of. So it's going to be a busy summer. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, unless there's any questions.
I have one, 62 Sawyer Street. I think the chief went over there, or somebody from your staff. The building's practically collapsing. The neighbors have kids that are, in the yard there. What are we going to do about that?
I believe that property is in tax title. If we could there was a way that we could speed up the tax title process to own it, it would be much easier to,
Because it's leaning towards the back. If the kids went out and played around there, that they could potentially fall on them. The roof is collapsed.
we could certainly, if the money was appropriated, put a fence around it. But we'd be leaning a property that's already in tax title, so in the end, it will be at the city's expense. So
Right. Okay, thanks. Yeah, it's probably not 62, it's probably an odd number. Because it's
I think it's 67.
Yeah.
I believe it's 67. I am familiar with it.
Is the tenant still there? Does anybody know?
I don't know. We,
Health department?
the chief had the power cut to the building, and the water has been shut off, so I would assume that generally deters anybody that's squatting on the property.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
No questions.
I have no questions. I noticed the fencing on Langley Street just popped up. Must have been recently.
I would say so, yeah, because I haven't seen it yet.
I went out back there yesterday and that would be good to have that done.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
That got put up yesterday.
I'm sorry.
That got put up yesterday. They started mobilizing yesterday, the demo's gonna start next week.
Very good. Thank you for the update. Public health is not available to be here today. Next would be police, but you're not providing an update, correct?
No, sir.
Sorry. And then we will move on to Chief LeBoy.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
I'll start with a update on our personnel situation. We had 2 new firefighters, Patrick Swinton and Stenio Pereira, that graduated the Mass Fire Academy Recruit Training Program back on March 4th. They were at the council meeting a couple weeks ago for their swearing in. Firefighter Swenson has been assigned to Group 4, Firefighter Pereira assigned to Group 3. They're filling vacant slots on those shifts. We also had a promotion. Firefighter Matthew Moniz was promoted to the rank of lieutenant. He was hired by the Gardner Fire Department in 2016, and he had previous experience prior to that with the Littleton, Massachusetts Fire Department. And he was also sworn in at that same council meeting. And he took the vacant position of Lieutenant Steve Roy, longtime fire department employee who retired back at the end of last year. On April 15th, I had another firefighter that resigned from the fire department. He resigned here to accept another firefighter position at another Worcester County Fire Department. With that resignation, that brings us to currently 3 vacant firefighter positions. Again, it's been a struggle to fill these positions. We have a new civil service list that is out, and candidates have been notified. This is an updated list after the last firefighter exam from last fall, so there are more candidates, including several local candidates on the list, which is good for us. They currently are at the state now where they're turning in resumes to the personnel department. We'll follow that up with interviews with the hopes of having the 3 new hires on board hopefully midsummer. With the in-house training to commence and then the fire academy recruit training after that. So we're probably looking at the end of the year before they're part of the firefighting force. And overtime expenditure continues to be high, again, mainly driven by these vacant positions. We're just having such a struggle getting to full staffing and maintaining the workforce. The lengthy hiring process and training process also, of course, affects that. In addition, we have 1 firefighter who was out on injury leave for an extended period that had to be backfilled with overtime. Update on grants. The state of Massachusetts fiscal year 22 firefighter safety equipment grant has been completed. We purchased 4 new ventilation saws and a rapid intervention or RIT team emergency breathing air supply kit. Those are all in service now. That was over $11,000 worth of equipment that was funded fully by the state, acquired at no cost to the city. The 2020 FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant project, which is the new fire and carbon monoxide alarm system at fire headquarters and the annex building, installation is currently underway of that. The selected contractor, the LW Bills Company out of Georgetown, they're on site, actually they're on site today working, so we're hoping to have that wrapped up fairly soon. That was a much needed upgrade to that building to replace that 40-something-year-old system that was in there currently. This past March, we were awarded a fiscal year 22 Massachusetts Executive Office of Public Safety grant to purchase an automated external defibrillator, an AED. That is a grant amount award of $2,427.99, which covers the full cost of the AED. Again, there's no match from the city for that. That will be added to our fleet on one of the first out trucks. And it is currently ordered and we're awaiting delivery of that AED. We're continuing to work on the roof repair at the fire headquarters building. I've been working with the building commissioner on this quite a bit. And we had a local contractor come in and remove all the damaged drywall and insulation on the apparatus floor, the apparatus bay garage, the ceiling that was damaged due to the leaking internal rain gutter system. The purpose of that was to get all that damaged and wet drywall and insulation out of there, and we're going to be able to better ascertain where the leaks are coming from in that gutter system with the hope of repairing it over the summer so we can get it fixed and patched up and everything returned, the insulation and the drywall, everything returned before next winter, before the next heating season. During the activity update during the months of January through April 2022, the fire department responded to 1,697 calls for emergency service. And during that time period, the fire department ambulance transported 698 patients to area hospitals. And as of late, we've been extremely busy with the dry weather and high winds. We've had in the past 3 days, we've had multiple building fires and multiple mulch fires, just because everything is so dry and windy that it doesn't take much to get things going right now. So luckily all the fires have been quickly reported and quickly contained, so damage was minimal. Two multifamily buildings, both had fires on the porches, and then we had a commercial convenience store fire that was damage to the front entryway. So like I said, luckily we were able to get there quickly and handle everything and bring them under control quickly. Any questions?
Yes, I do.
Sure.
I'm wondering, does the fire department, or is there an ordinance that will direct people not to put their grills on their porches?
There is code in Massachusetts, the state fire code prohibits grills in multifamily buildings on any porch or balcony or anything like that. On multifamilies, it is prohibited. Single families, there's no regulation about it. It only applies to multifamily buildings.
So it applies to them. So how would you go if you're out there and you see them? You know, and my board has a lot of apartments.
Yeah.
And they're all over the porches from the first, second, and third floors. what can we do about that? Or could I,
You certainly can call the fire prevention office at the fire department. They can go out and do an inspection and notify the building owner and the occupants if they find a violation like that. Generally, when we go there, if there's somebody there, we order it removed from the property while we're on site. The fire this morning was caused by a propane gas grill on a second floor porch. Yeah. So we can do that, and also building owners can obviously, inform their tenants that it's prohibited, and they have the authority to tell the occupants to remove them.
okay, thank you.
I mean, we can all, if it's an issue, we can issue citations for it. We generally try to handle it by
Right.
informing people. It's, a lot of people just don't know that it's not allowed. But like this morning's a perfect example of why.
Okay, thank you.
I have one, Craig. The civil service, is that prohibiting you from hiring individuals? If I forget, but I believe when I was on the school committee, we had a similar issue and we eliminated civil service, and just like to get your comment on that.
Civil service definitely it's a cumbersome hiring process. Does it restrict who we hire? Absolutely. It is, limited to people who have taken the test and have scored high enough on the list. It does give residential preference to residents of the city, so they go above anybody from out of town. But we still only see candidates that are on that list. If there are other qualified candidates who have not taken the civil service test, we cannot hire. So it's restrictive, it's cumbersome, it's lengthy. Would I recommend trying to get out of it? Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further questions? Agenda item number 3. Item 10675, an application by GameStop Incorporated, number 3725, for license of dealing second-hand articles at 376 Tiffany Boulevard.
Yeah, no issues. We did a background check. There's police department has no concerns.
They're up to date with taxes.
Is there any discussion? I will entertain a motion in this application.
A motion to approve.
Is there a second? Any discussion on that motion? A motion by Councilor Boone, second by Councilor Hardin to approve, recommend approval of application 10675 by GameStop for license to deal in secondhand articles. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 4, application, item number 10676, an application by Salvation Army Family Store and Donation Center for a license to deal in secondhand articles at 8 Union Street. Mahi?
Same as last, did a background check. No issues or concerns in the police department.
And up to date on taxes.
All right, we're in good standing. I will entertain a motion on this application.
I make a motion to accept and approve number 10676.
Second.
And a motion by Councilor Hardin, second by Councilor Boone to recommend approval of an application by Salvation Army Family Store and Donation Center. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 10677, application by Gardner Coins and Cards Incorporated for license deal in secondhand articles at 18 Parker Street.
The background check conducted. No issues or concerns with the police department.
Up to date on taxes.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilor Boone, second by Councilor Hardin to recommend approval for the application by Gardner Coins and Cards for license deal in secondhand articles. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 10678, an application by House of Peace and Education Incorporated, DBA Hopeful Boutique for a license to deal in secondhand articles at 29 Pleasant Street. This was not referred yet by the council, but if you are prepared.
Again, background check conducted, no issues or concerns with the police department.
And all set.
Right, seeing that we have the report, I would entertain a motion to recommend.
Second?
Motion by Councilor Boone, second by Councilor Harding to recommend approval of an application by House Peace and Education for a license deal and singing articles. All in favor? Aye, opposed? Ayes have it. 10679, ordinance to amend this code of City of Gardner, Chapter 664, entitled Yard Sales. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. You mind if I use the, yes, just to put on my papers for the next couple ones here. This is one that's come as a suggestion from people who have recently taken out yard sale permits that we have. The ordinance right now restricts when yard sales can start to not starting before 9 a.m. with the majority of yard sale permits. The conversations that we've had are at 8 a.m., including the citywide yard sale that's been advertised as starting at 8 a.m. And then we've had to let them know that technically they can't do that, but since the flyers were out, we had to work with them on that one. So just looking at changing the time from 9 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the ordinance.
This item has not been referred yet. And with the simplicity and explanation by the mayor, entertaining motions to recommend.
Make a motion to recommend.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilor Hardin, second by Councilor Boone to recommend approval of the ordinance to amend City Code of City of Gardner, Chapter 664, entitled Yard Sales. All in favor? Aye, opposed? The ayes have it. Item 10680, an ordinance to amend the Code of the City of Gardner, Chapter 500, entitled Nuisances, Vacant, Abandoned, and Blighted Buildings.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is coming after a recent update to some codes and reviewing up what other cities and towns have done in order to implement those updates there. This is related to the ordinance that was passed earlier this year that we did for blighted, nuisance, vacant, abandoned properties here. Just adding further teeth to what we can do to prevent a problem before it becomes a problem. Particularly with the changing in hands that we're seeing in certain troubled properties around the city. Now that we are fixing the issue on that and making sure that we're stopping others from occurring there. So that is what the proposals in this ordinance are. There are some correspondence as we've done with the other ordinances that have been proposed from the departments that would oversee the implementation of this, if this should be passed, that are included in the packet today, as well as the red and green line versions, if you have the colored version of the packet, of how this would change the existing ordinances that are there.
Councilor Jean, do you have anything to add?
I don't want to